Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Mania Squid Game Round 4. We are rolling right along with some of these matches already approaching into the back half of the weekend already. We've seen some pretty incredible back and forths under this pretty interesting rule set that we have for the round. And it'll be interesting to see as we have our marquee matchup of the weekend. We've got konkawe going up against Matthia, two very strong players in their own right, going to be duking it out. konkawe already claiming the head of the #1 seed. See if they can knock out another top 10 seed finisher in Matthia. As always, my name is Sparky, and I am joined in the commentary booth by none other than Rhymes Mash. Mash, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to this match. We've already got the players in the lobby. It's just a matter of seeing how this is gonna go down, and I think we're all pretty familiar with these two players and their skill sets and such. konkawe is just a great player all around, and Matthia has a certain specialty in Rice, so I think we can all predict what the picks and bans are gonna look like. konkawe does take the roll 61-15, and it's up to them to take the first ban or the first pick.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna opt to ban first here, so first option gonna go over to Matthia in this regard for the protect. I mean, it's like you were alluding to earlier, is that these two are pretty well known for what they opt to play for in these tournaments. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly they decide to work with here.
Yeah, and this map pool is not forgiving by any means. These are some really difficult maps. You're bound to recognize at least a handful of them, all these throwbacks, and it looks like konkawe is going to be protecting first with Violent Arcade at 1.1. That is our first hybrid.
Yeah, first hybrid, and I believe recently loved. Pretty good map overall, I believe, making its appearance in the 2019 edition of the Mania World Cup. And unsurprisingly, Matthia gonna go with a Rice pick for their protect. It's gonna be Speed of Link.
Yeah, that totally plays into Mattia's strengths. Speed of Link is pretty straightforward. It's our jump string pick. I really expect him to get a great score on that. konkawe is going to be banning Rice 5 Lunatic Rough Party. I feel like that's a good pick to ban. I think anything in the Rice is good to ban against Matthia here.
Yeah, for sure. I think the more straightforward the map is, I feel really highlights Mattia's strengths. I mean, sure, they can play some more technical Rice charts, but in a straight-up accuracy duel on something like a core jack pick, I would take Matthia 10 times out of 10. And Matthia gonna round out the ban sequence with Inai getting knocked out here. So one of the LN picks not going to be available for konkawe to use.
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy to see. Matthia banning the long note coordination is no surprise. Inai timing hack has a ton of releases and coordination elements. Really kind of the opposite of what Matthia specializes in.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of things they specialize in, we're going to go straight into our first pick. Is going to be Matthia going for Rice 1 here. And the interesting caveat about this round, usually it would just be a straight up score battle. But for this round, players get to choose their win condition. They have the opportunity to choose between accuracy, score, and I believe combo.
Yes.
So Matthia opting to go with accuracy, and being one of the most accurate Rice players in the entirety of the United States, rivaled only by a couple of players. It'll be very interesting to see if konkawe can withstand this opening onslaught.
Yeah, this is all very on brand for Matthia. I think picking Ado, like the dump speed map, and going with accuracy, I think is uh, just very Matthia.
Yeah, for sure. Even when they do find the rare miss uh, in their run-throughs, it's usually a very clean miss overall, and it's going to be very goofy looking at the uh, accuracies for both the players because they're both very physically capable and can probably V1 double S stuff like this on a very good day. So it's going to come down to those 200 counts to drop the players, and Matthia actually taking a bigger accuracy drop through that opening gauntlet. Konkawe finding a couple of 200s as well, but still in that 99.9 mark as Matthia starts to climb back up here.
Yeah, they did both hold a double S for a very long time, considering the speed of these streams, but konkawe is doing much better for wear in these denser parts, and Matthia actually finds the first break.
The first break and ceding quite a considerable amount of ground to konkawe at the moment, 99.2 to 99.84. A reminder, the score does not matter in this particular matchup for this particular map. It is all coming down to that accuracy, and konkawe has built up quite a hefty cushion. Sure, starting to find a couple of drops now as the stamina starts to wear away here as we make our way into the back half of the chart. There's still about a minute and a half left to go for both players, but 0.4% on V1 is quite a substantial gap right now.
Yeah, my brain keeps thinking, oh, these misses, oh no. But it really only matters as much as it drops your accuracy here. It's interesting to get a different perspective on the win condition.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty sure fighting the usual habits of seeing a 100% in a tournament setting, it's like, okay, something's wrong. The 300 counts aren't lowering my accuracy anymore. What is happening here? It is still 0.3% in favor of konkawe, still holding on to that 99.7, able to climb back up after that earlier slip up. Both players losing the FCs here, but as it stands, still very respectable in terms of the accuracy as Matthia finds another break on the build-up into the transition into this last eighth of the map. It is still a pretty decent margin, about 0.3 now of a percent between both players, as it has been for large stretches of this map.
Yeah, konkawe really showing off their versatility as a player here. They protected a hybrid, and even going into the Rice pick, they're able to beat out Matthia by a considerable accuracy margin, but it is still pretty close. That is, I think, 99.78 to 99.5.
Yeah, just an unfortunate string of misses early on for Matthia, knocking down their accuracy into that low 99% mark. And on V1, it is a lot harder to claw back deficits as opposed to V2, because you can see the 300 count in favor of Matthia as well as the 200s, but unfortunately not able to pull it out as konkawe actually finds the first breakpoint in this match.
Yeah, it's really actually pretty interesting to see just the discrepancy in misses. I think this would have been a much closer, or a much less close pick if it had been score V2, just because of that miscount. And I think it's interesting to see how that can kind of change a player's approach to a map. Because if you do go for that kind of pure accuracy strategy, you might end up with a lot of clean misses, which can give you better accuracy than your score might reflect. So it's just a very interesting dynamic with the win condition here.
Yeah, absolutely. And while you were discussing that, it looks like konkawe went into their next pick. It's going to be Terabyte Connection. Going down into the hybrids here, and our referee asking what the win condition is going to be. And it looks like confirming with konkawe is going to be accuracy. So we're still staying with the accuracy battle between these two players. So once again, the score will not matter here. It's just a matter of that percentage at the end of the chart. See if Matthia can hang on and try and answer back here.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice by Konkawe, I think. It should be noted that when you play on accuracy, you are playing on score v1 like we said, so you don't have that column lock reduction that comes with playing with score v2. So on more long note heavy maps, it kind of changes the way the game is played.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out as we make our way through this map, significantly shorter than Ado from earlier, so a little bit less for Matthia to deal with as they pick up the first drop here. Konkawe still holding on to this perfect 100% as Matthia finds themselves down at that low 99%. Gonna need to build up relatively quickly. And now we actually bring in discussion about shorter map lengths, because the overall number of nodes that you can find bad judgments on really starts to mess with your accuracy a little bit more, despite it being V1. And as we make our way into this back half of the chart, Konkawe is still holding on to this V1 double S, quite literally. As I say that, finding the first 200, but traded back in spades. Both of them actually starting to find huge trades back and forth, but Matthia ending up worse for wear in the exchanges, falling down into the 98% range. Konkawe losing only about 0.5% after I started to lavish them with praise here.
Yeah, I think the some of those inverse sections are just a little bit too much for Matthia, as we kind of see here as well with some of these reverse shields. His accuracy is suffering with some of these misses, whereas Konkawe is really holding strong. Just goes to show why they picked this.
Yeah, for sure. And the good thing is for Matthia, he can kind of mitigate some of the damage that they would have taken if this were on V2, because they can kind of cheese the releases a little bit to hit inside of the 300 window. But if you can't handle the LN anchored jacks that happen throughout this chart, then you're in for a bit of a rough time. And now the lead has extended to about 1.5%. As we make our way into the last letter of the chart, it's going to take a massive drop here from Konkawe here at the end, a bit of a misread or a bit of a column lock or something to lend Matthia a bone, but it doesn't look like it's going to be happening here as Konkawe successfully capitalizes on that first breakpoint to make it 2-0 now.
Yeah, it was an interesting comment you made about how he can kind of cheese the releases on score v1. I didn't really think about that. It really is a whole different beast on score v1 here.
Yeah, for sure, but unfortunately not playing out in favor of Matthia, unable to wrestle back that first breakpoint. And they're going to go for the protect here to try and right the ship a little bit, and continuing with the accuracy win condition. So not changing up that side of the strategy, just maintaining what they know best, going up into that rice pool.
I wonder if a score v2 accuracy win condition would be popular with players over a score v2 win condition, like for just general tournament use.
That'd be an interesting proposition, because there are certain instances where you can out-act your opponent on V2 and still lose via score. So it actually kind of like going into the realm of like pad play, like 4-panel, 5-panel games where it's actually based off the accuracy versus the actual score. That'd be a interesting thing to explore if it ever gets implemented. But as we make our way into Speed of Link, it's going to be more of the same, playing off the back of Ado, where both players hang on to this 100% accuracy for basically the entire introduction.
Yeah, there's really nothing to say. They're deadlocked so far.
It's one of those things where it's like, this is why we don't play with V1. There's very little to talk about in terms of accuracy here. And oh my goodness, I feel like I'm commentating without my crutch here, because that's usually what I bank on. But both players holding on to the 100% here through the first third of the chart now. it's going to be a matter of who blinks first in terms of dropping that first 200 or finding that just one rush is going to be all it takes to swing this one way or the other.
Yeah.
Now, Mash, I raised a...
Oh, go ahead.
I raised a very interesting question to you. What happens if they tie and they both V1 double S? Oh, as I say that, konkawe finds a 200 on the reintroduction of the streams, dropping them down.
Oh, Matthia got one as well. Oh, Matthia breaks!
Oh my goodness, but it is such a clean break. They're still within 200% of each other, and Matthia starting to climb back up.
Oh, konkawe takes a back drop. Oh my gosh.
It's a 0.1% separating both players. Matthia with the miss, but konkawe with a rush of 200 starting to drag as the streams making it through. They were saying that their stamina is dead and it might be coming to a head here despite the fact that they win on score. The win condition was accuracy, and Matthia picks up their first point off the back of that incredible ratio, 130 300s and the singular drop to the 10 200s of konkawe.
Wow. And that is why he picked accuracy. It paid off.
It pays off in the end, and it is now 2-1 in favor of konkawe, with konkawe up to pick. Matthia gonna need to find a breakpoint somewhere in this lower half of the map pool.
Wow. Really
honestly,
interesting.
That might actually be konkawe's saving grace. The fact that he was able to pick up that breakpoint on Ado can kind of just wait a second. Wait.
Ooh.
What?
konkawe not going with long notes or even hybrids. I would have expected their protect, because being up 3-1 would be really a great position for them, but going with Gamma stopped sending me Ratchet and Clank videos to sample.
This is a very interesting choice, and still staying with the accuracy, just banking on the fact that they can hang on just that little bit longer. Maybe they're seeing the misses coming out from Matthia on the score screen and thinking, okay, if I can just keep it clean, I can probably outact Matthia here on something like this. This is gonna be a bit of a stamina test for somebody that has been claiming that they're out of stamina. I'm not convinced on this pick yet.
That's so interesting, yeah. I think this is like the opposite of what they would optimally pick, because they've been able to combo game Matthia before, so you would expect for them to pick score as a win condition. And then they also pick Rice. I don't know what's going on.
I am not sure, but it is a very bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if this comes to fruition. Both players losing that 100% pretty early on in comparison to some of the other Rice charts we have seen. This one definitely a bit more on the techie side compared to what we have seen so far in Speed of Link and Ado. And right now, Matthia pulling ahead by about 1/10% as things start to settle down. This is a very long map, so it's going to come down to hundreds of percent, I'd imagine, or somebody just finding a very bad section throughout this 4-minute gauntlet.
Yeah, and there are a lot of really techie, really difficult sections, and your act can just flip right in just an instant. And as it stands, Matthia does have a slight lead, but there's a long way to go.
Yeah, 700%, and it feels like you're pulling teeth because the 300 counts do not play a factor in determining the accuracy. So you can kind of get away with getting a little lackadaisical on these breaks, but when it does start to pick up in terms of density, you really got to pay the utmost attention to these anchors, to these grace notes, to all the bursts that hit you left and right and center. And konkawe starting to claw it back a little bit. It's 400% separated both players as we make our way into the second third of the chart now.
Yeah, and as we go further and further, 200s will matter less and less, and will become more and more about the big picture of your accuracy. both players dropping a little bit in that very angry long jack section.
Yeah, for sure. Now that both players do have 200 counts or lower to their name, ratio does become a little bit more of an important factor. We saw it happen in that last pick where Matthia had the ratio difference despite the miss, able to pull him through despite the fact that konkawe is able to full combo the way through it. And now we see the tables turn as Matthia actually picking up quite a bit of bad judgments here, down into that 99.7 mark. Is 0.1% in favor of konkawe now. A huge swing in the context of this one map. Last out of the map still left to go. Both players still holding on to their FCs here.
Yeah, making it through the speed section. It's still relatively close. There's a really difficult section near the ending, and that will be Matthia's time to strike if he can just maintain this trailing margin.
Yeah, for sure. 1/4 of the map left to go. Both players have been going at this for about 3 minutes now. A minute left to go as Matthia finds the first break, a first couple of breaks. A bit of a column break rush there as they drop down into that 99.7 mark. konkawe makes it through relatively unscathed here. Now back up into that 99.9 mark. Very comfortable cushion for them to work with as we make our way into this outro.
It's not over till we see the score screen though. And I don't know. With the way konkawe is playing, I wouldn't be surprised if they take it.
Yeah, for sure. There's still quite a considerable amount of density as konkawe and Matthia find the break. Gonna wait to see if the combo resets, but that was actually an organic break, and they're trading back and forth. Matthia faring worse where in the exchanges, and konkawe actually manages to hang on there at the very end. It looked pretty dicey there for just the briefest of moments, but they're able to take it and make it 3-1 now. Stripe earned on Rice pick there.
Wow, a 988 is really impressive with only 2 misses. And even beating Matthia in ratio.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, these two are just going to stick to what they know. They have been playing an accuracy game, and they're going to continue with the accuracy game. It's going to be Rice 6 coming out here.
Yeah, here we go. Classic shoegazer textile map.
Yeah, on one of the more absurd rates. 1.15, 207 BPM. Just raw tech. And now if you're konkawe, you're in a much better position now than you were 2 maps ago when you got that first breakpoint, because now you have basically the entirety of that lower side of the map pool to kind of find your neat little bow to put on these proceedings.
Yeah, there's only a handful of Rice picks left. Matthia finding a rough start here, but it is just the beginning. This is a much shorter map, only 2 minutes. But being down 3-1 is a really tough spot, especially when it's 1st to 5. But this is definitely a good pick for Matthia, despite the slight struggle he's having at the start here.
Yeah, just a couple of uncharacteristic misses here very early on. konkawe does eventually trade it back, but relatively clean in comparison, only dropping about 0.15%. And still maintaining the lead for the moment, but Matthia is making the relentless charge. As we were saying early on, when Matthia does find those drops, they are relatively clean for the most part. But as I say that, really struggling to regain a bit of a foothold here. They were on the charge, but rolling back down the hill here as they find themselves lingering in that 99.7 mark, as konkawe still head and shoulders above 99.92 for them. Back half of the charge still left to go here as we continue through this chart. And on we continue it. A bit of a rough section from konkawe here as we make our way into the last quarter of the chart, and now they're virtually tied in terms of accuracy. What was it? Very rough going very early.
Oh my gosh!
As they trade once again. Oh my goodness. They're basically throwing haymakers back and forth right now as Matthia now takes the accuracy advantage going into the last eighth of the chart. And as I was saying, very rough going very early on, but now able to establish a bit of a foothold as konkawe finds. Actually, no, that was a bit of a lag spike on my end as it is now 300% coming down to the wire. It's going to come down to these last couple of bursts. A lot of graces, a lot of flams to contend with in this late section. And oh my goodness. Matthia
resists the combo game again. Picking Ack has paid off twice now.
Oh, that came down to two 200s at the very end of the day. Sure, a couple of 300s for the road as well, but 300% between both players here. And Matthia, bit of a squeaker there when all is said and done, looking back on it, but able to get the job done nonetheless to make it 3-2 now.
Yeah, in a map with 2,500 notes, a difference of 2 judgments. That's pretty close.
Very close indeed. And now konkawe back on the draw here. There's only one rice chart left if they want to try and exhaust that. And they are going to, without hesitation, they're going to exhaust the rest of this rice pool, putting Matthia in a bit of a bind now as they're going to have to navigate the hybrids and LMs whether they want to or not. It's just going to come down to what the win condition is going to be for konkawe here.
Yeah, konkawe did say earlier that they couldn't jack, but here they are picking the jack pick. Oh, and they're going with SQUID too.
Oh, wow. Okay, so maybe realizing that they can maybe combo game Matthia a little bit here. Going back to what is basically the more comfortable, recognizable win condition in a tournament setting. But that does bring Matthia back into the equation here with regards to their latent rice abilities. No more V1 shenanigans to kind of see konkawe through. This is going to be the first real test for them on what could possibly be considered a level playing field.
Yeah, konkawe has proven to have a competitive ratio, so I don't think they have too much to be afraid of on that front in score. And having been able to combo game Matthia, I think SQUID 2 is a reasonable pick, but I just don't really see the reason why to switch now after playing Ack for so long.
I think maybe just wanting to shake things up a little bit, maybe getting a little bit bored of the constant 100% for long stretches of the chart, and right now it feels like we are still playing on SQUID V1. They're both at 99.9% accuracy. Wow. But now the 300s do matter. We're back to traditional format. SQUID V2 wins overall. And right now, Matthia pulling out the tiniest bit of an advantage, but konkawe is right there, right behind him.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it is so close. Oh, they're tied. Oh my gosh.
Oh, this is way too close to call as we make our way into the back of the chart as Matthia finds a couple of 300 rushes, and it's going to be evened up once again. konkawe answering back.
Oh my gosh. I'm on the edge of my seat right now.
Mash, we're supposed to be playing marbles. These guys are playing tug of war. That was a couple of rounds ago. What are they doing? Is 300s over percent starting both players as we get into what could be considered the longest break section in this chart before it starts to pick up again. These couple of navigatable anchors on the outer columns, not going to give either player too much of a fuss before it picks up once again into the buildup and into the last quarter of the chart. Matthia still ahead by the tiniest of margins.
One slip up and it's over for either player.
Oh, it's coming down to the wire. A lot of 300s coming out from
Matthia!
Miss! And it's not answered back by konkawe. They're both dropping in accuracy like flies. That is a very clean miss from Matthia, but that 400 combo cap is going to come back and hurt them in spades as we make our way to the end. konkawe able to FC with a 991k to make it a match point situation, 4-2 now.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, just a singular blink at the very end of the map. The undoing for Matthia, having the ratio of Konkawe, a couple of 100s as well. That might have come from that one spiked miss, but it is just enough to see Konkawe over the line on that chart. Bit of a heart and mouth moment, and they have been playing with fire throughout this match, and it has been rewarded in droves with Matthia up to pick.
Oh my gosh, I'm still recovering.
Oh, it was a very tense situation. The man that claimed that they couldn't jack, able to pull it through in the end, and it is going to be a bit of a combo game now as we go down into the hybrids. It's going to be Heathens coming out.
I like this. This is actually I think the first time combo has been picked as a win condition. I'm very excited for this because it's not your peak combo throughout the whole map, it's your combo at the end that matters.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to keep track of. I know from the few times that I've played on combo before in a multiplayer lobby, the propensity to choke is very high. You start to really hyper focus on that ticking time bomb that is your combo, and it's all fun and games until you lose it on the very like second to last note.
Exactly, and I think that's got to be what Matthia is banking on here, right? Because he's out of picks now. Going with this Abraxos hybrid map, certainly out of his comfort zone. So I think their last chance is to Hail Mary and hope konkawe breaks near the end.
Yeah, for sure, but they could also break very early. Konkawe playing a little bit with fire here. If Matthia somehow manages to FC their way through this chart, they might have lost this right from the get-go here. 15 notes separating both of them as Matthia takes the lead in terms of that combo game.
With the ack in the 80s. Hey, it doesn't matter. As long as you can hold.
This is the epitome of combo gaming. This is actually incredibly intriguing. They're hitting ultra early to really stave off any drag misses, but it could come back to haunt them if they hit way too early. It could really come back on those really tight timings. You see a lot of these almost inverse-like patterns that happen for brief moments.
Yeah, everybody likes to say that Matthia is just a Rice player, but he's actually better than most would expect on long notes. Oh, but with that break, oh no.
Yeah, it's all fun and games until you start to read through it a lot more. And yes, they have the accuracy advantage. Yes, they have the score advantage, but all that matters here is the combo. There is a third of the chart left to go, and what could potentially be a third of the chart left of Mattia's tournament life here. Konkawe able to build back some combo, but they break!
Oh, breaks on both sides! Oh, Konkawe trades it back! Oh my gosh!
They're trading back and forth. Nobody wants to hold on to this flaming torch right now. Konkawe back in the lead with a tiny sliver of combo to their name. Able to stay ahead for the moment, but they are not out of the woods yet. A late break here would be absolutely devastating as Matthia has started to build up once again. And really, it's just, they're playing with a smoking gun right now. There is a bullet loaded in the chamber, and it looks like it's going to be pointed the way of Matthia as Konkawe holds it firmly in their hands.
Oh my god. Wait! Did he just miss on the last note?
He missed at the last note. Matthia wins it off of that last break at the end. Was it a client drop? It remains to be seen. And I think Konkawe dropped it on purpose at the end to keep this match going.
Oh my gosh.
This is truly TV grade level stuff we are seeing here tonight, folks.
It's just like the show.
Nobody wants to win because they know that somebody has to lose. And Matthia stays alive for at least one more map. And it is now 4-3 off the back of that last second combo break from konkawe.
Oh my
Motives be
gosh.
damned. That is some good stuff. That is some content right there. That being said, konkawe now has the pick, and they could make this absolute torture for Matthia, should they so choose.
Yeah, and they are going with long note 2. The client did eat the message, but they're picking Einerhard Joker. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest.
And they're going with combo once again, so match, we could be on a one-way trip to the tiebreaker. I don't know about you.
I don't know what to say anymore. This match has taken everything out of me.
This is... I forget the stamina test for the players. The stamina test for us are... I feel like my blood sugar is spiking right now, and I haven't eaten in like 6 hours.
This is like a cardio workout.
But anyways, we are back on the combo gaming. konkawe opting to dive down into the LN pool. Einerhard Joker coming out here, and I mean, I'll reserve judgment until we see the last notes come down here. I felt like I got absolutely shafted during that last map. I had this whole thing lined up, and konkawe decided to throw it all away for the sake of playing another map. And we'll see what Matthia can punish here. They do lose the combo relatively early, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish here. And judging by the way konkawe is playing right now in comparison to Heathens, holding on to the V1SS here.
Yeah, they are not messing around this time.
They're pretty short map in this map pool. It's clocking in at just over 2 minutes. And I mean, it's so weird. I mean, traditional tournament structure has conditioned me to think that konkawe is ahead, but that can flip in an instant here as we continue through this chart. The second third of the map upcoming. konkawe still with the full combo, losing the V1SS, but able to hold on to this combo very importantly for the moment as Matthia kind of tries to build something up here, but basically 4-column density to contend with, a little bit too much for them to read through as they make their way into this bit of a calmer section. Not easy, but definitely calmer than what they were doing a couple seconds ago.
Yeah, it kind of seems full LN is kind of outside of Matthia's skill set here, but when you're playing full LN, your combo goes up really quickly. Look at konkawe, already at 3,000. So a late miss might just give Matthia time to turn it around. Hard to say.
Yeah, for sure. My eyes are just glued onto konkawe's side as they find their first couple of drops here. Still ahead of Matthia, who is trading these misses back in spades at the moment. As konkawe finds another break. Oh, they're trading back and forth. Nobody wants to hold on to this torch once again. Last little chart left to go. They are now playing chicken with each other. Who is going to be the one to hold on longer? Oh, I hate the fact that it's a long LN, and konkawe takes it, doesn't let go of any buttons at the end, and the match is now officially over as konkawe knocks out Matthia by a score of 5-3.
Yeah, man, konkawe proving once again that they are truly a dominant player in this tournament. They challenged Sudden Death week 2, and now they have proven they can beat Matthia on some of the ricier skill sets. They're just conquering everybody on their home fields.
Yeah, for sure. A true display of well-roundedness, and I feel like that's been serving them well so far this tournament as they punch their ticket into the next round at the expense of Matthia, who has done incredibly well to make it this far. It'll be a much different tournament environment without them now, as There are only a couple of matches left to go this weekend. We have some very exciting matchups here as we end this block of one match. We've got Captain Sivelia going against Mish at 10 UTC, followed by a bit of a break before we pick up with the last 4 matches of the weekend. Netro going against Crazy Pizza Kid, Accelerix going against Beta Carotene, Dev against Surcamp, and Dark Ecuser going up against Rafael PC. All very crazy matchups. Could go either way depending on how the players decide to approach it. But Mash, do you have anything else left to say?
Good game, well played. It was exciting. Thanks for playing with Matthia. Good luck in future rounds, konkawe. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Till then, later.